You know that feeling? You're standing in the middle of a library, but it's an infinite library. The shelves just go on forever. Over here, you've got quantum mechanics, over there, the Old Testament, and you're just standing there thinking, where do I even start? It's a question I think a lot of us who are curious about the world ask ourselves all the time. With just so much knowledge out there, how in the world do you pick the right thing to learn next? So let's dive into that. Let's see if we can find a compass for navigating that library. All right, here's our game plan. First, we're going to really explore that infinite library. Then, we'll talk about the myth of easy answers. We'll introduce this idea of a personal AI tutor, see how all knowledge fits into one beautiful tapestry, and then figure out how to ask the most important question, what do I lack? And finally, we'll get you that compass. Okay, so picture it again. You're in that library. You can almost smell the old paper. You've got these massive ancient texts on one side, and then maybe you hear the quiet, clean logic of algebra whispering from a corner. It really does feel like the ultimate choose-your-own-adventure, doesn't it? Except the stakes feel kind of high. And let's just get this out of the way right up front, because it's the core idea of this whole explainer. There is no best subject trophy. There is no universal unit 1 that every single human being has to master first. The idea that there's one perfect starting point for everyone, it's just, well, it's a myth. And that leads us right here to the myth of the pat answer. We love simple, one-size-fits-all solutions. They feel safe, they feel certain, but the truth is, they almost always miss the point. And isn't that just the perfect way to put it? We love these answers. Things like, just read your scriptures, or just follow the science. They're like these cozy little blankets for our brains. They're easy, they're simple, but they ignore the single most critical element of all. This slide just nails it, doesn't it? It's all about context. If you are literally starving, the most important thing in the universe for you to study is not a talk on the spiritual benefits of fasting, it's a sandwich. The right answer is always about your real, immediate need. So, if there are no pat answers, then how are we supposed to figure it out for ourselves? Well, let's explore a really modern way of looking at a very, very old idea. So think about it like this. What if that inner voice, that intuition, what some people call the spirit, is basically the world's most advanced, personalized AI tutor? It's this intelligence that knows you perfectly. It knows your strengths, sure, but way more importantly, it knows your gaps. It knows what you are truly missing, even when you have no idea. And this is such a brilliant example. You might be thinking, why in the world would my spiritual AI tutor tell me to study algebra? Well, maybe it has nothing to do with solving for X. Maybe the real lesson is that you need to learn how to think with more order and clarity. Maybe you need to learn how to find a hidden truth by carefully balancing an equation. The subject itself is just the tool. The real lesson is so much deeper. You know what? This whole idea leads to a really mind-bending question. What if those walls we build between secular knowledge and sacred knowledge, what if they aren't even real? We love to put things in boxes, right? This is science, this is religion. But what if you look at it this way? Biology isn't just a secular topic. From this perspective, it's literally the study of how God organized matter into life. It's the study of a miracle. And philosophy, it's not just some dry academic thing. It's the collective human attempt to understand and map the moral universe we've been placed in. When you start to see it like this, spiritual study and academic study stop being different categories. They're all just threads in one big, beautiful tapestry of truth. So what does this all boil down to? It's this. If the whole point of learning is to fill in our own personal gaps, then the most important question we could ever ask ourselves is, what do I lack? That question becomes the ultimate filter for everything else. This story from the New Testament is the perfect case study. This guy comes up and asks, what do I need to do? Then he basically lists his resume. I've done all the right things. I've kept all the commandments. But the answer he gets isn't a generic commandment. It's a highly specific, personalized diagnosis just for him. His personal next step was to learn detachment, because that's the one thing he was missing. So what could that look like for you or for me? Well, your next step might be something you never expect. I mean, if you struggle with arrogance, maybe you do need to study humility in the New Testament. But what if you're a total pushover? Maybe the most spiritual thing you could possibly do is study psychology to learn how to set boundaries. If your life is a mess, maybe the answer is algebra. It's all about finding the right medicine for your specific ailment.
Okay, I know. This all sounds great in theory, but how do we actually do it? How do we put this into practice in our real lives? Well, this last part is all about the how. It's a practical guide.
Let's just get right down to it. You're back in that infinite library, whether it's a real one or just the internet. How do you actually decide which book to pull off the shelf?
Okay, here it is, a simple 3-step guide. Step 1, check your vitals. And I mean that literally. Where are you bleeding, emotionally or spiritually? Are you feeling anxious? Are you feeling lost? Bored? Just be brutally honest with yourself. Step 2, ask that internal tutor, okay, what's the gap I need to fill right now? And step 3, and this one is so important, be ready for a weird answer. Seriously, the answer might be to go learn about astronomy, or read a biography, or even watch a documentary about fungus. Trust it.
And that really is the big takeaway here. The most important thing to study isn't some fixed point on a map. It's not a single book or single subject that's the same for everyone. It's the compass needle itself. That internal guide that is always, always pointing you toward the very next thing you need to learn to become the person you're meant to be. So really, the only question left is, what's your compass pointing to right now?